So,
this
yeah.
is
Australia to Yahoo. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Do you like Australia? Australia good?
of course.
Да.
Ukrainian, Australia, Canada is very good.
Да, ну это
Hey legends, I thought I'd jump on board and just give a quick update to what seems to be a lot escalating and the statistics of the shelling violations of the ceasefire agreements that are in place. Firstly, I want to show and say that this is not my footage. This is footage that I've had supplied to me through friends or via email. I've got like a Dropbox of just all this random footage given to me from some random email that I'd seen confirmed places. And this is all happening in Luhansk and Donetsk, which encompasses as well Donbass, which you would have heard if you've been following along with this stuff down here. I'm moving down there over the next, tomorrow really, to see firsthand what's going on and talk to them there, because I'm here only 100 k's away and I'm confused as fuck as to what is happening, and I can't imagine what it's like through a million bloody whispers, through a million reporters back into somewhere like Australia or America or something where the media at best is a bit fucking, how you going? So yeah, I hope this somewhat makes sense. Otherwise, it'll get cleared up in the next few days. I apologise. But we will see how I go getting through the checkpoints and whatever, as it's very difficult, especially as a Western dude with a camera and no media accreditations or body armour or helmet. But we'll see how it goes. So strap in. But basically, one of the big things has been there's been mass evacuations of women and children from these areas by bus to the Rostov region, which is the region that sits between Russia and Ukraine on Russia's side of the border. It's also been reported that men in the age bracket between 18 and 55 have not been allowed to board these buses and are being asked to stay and fight. There's been statements from both the DPR, which is the Donetsk People's Republic, and the LPR, which is the Luhansk People's Republic, who are pro-Russian backed separatists in those places. Luhansk and Donbass are both occupied by Russian forces under Russian control in what most would say is Ukrainian land. In short, these announcements have been calling for mass civilian evacuation. But the funny thing about both of these announcements, they both came out yesterday on the 18th of February, depending where you are. But in Telegram through the Russian groups, if you look through the metadata, and the metadata, which is like the data of the video captured, both of these metadata was done 2 days prior, somewhat confirming this was a very planned move, although they said in the videos, and you can look up these statements if you'd like, were like, on this day we must move, and it's like, yeah, these being planned, and they're both recorded within a few hours of each other a few days prior. Dennis Bushland, who's the head of state of the DPR, he says, "Dear residents and Donetsk People's Republic countrymen, in recent months we have been observing a daily increase in the number of military personnel and lethal weapons by Ukraine, including Smerch and Aragon multiple launch rocket systems, M-Law rocket launchers, and as well Javelin and Stingers, and the entire line of contact. Today their guns are aimed at civilians and at us, our children. The armed forces of the enemy are in combat formations and ready for the forceful capture of Donbass. President Volodymyr Zelensky will soon give an order to the military to go on the offensive, to implement a plan to invade territory of Donetsk and Luhansk, the People's Republics." And he basically from there then appeals to the inhabitants to leave or fight. And a lot of this is very hard to read between the lines of what the hell is actually going on. There's been artillery shells you may have seen land in kindergarten. There's been artillery hit water lines and gas supplies, and Vodafone mobile phone networks cut. And a lot of the seeming feeling here is that this is a false flag operation run by pro-Russia, Russian-backed separatists in an attempt to have a false flag event to justify an invasion or further attacks. Ukraine has denied participating in almost any of these attacks and have strict ceasefire orders. And reports of the car explosion being a UAZ 469, it's like a military sort of jeepy sort of variant, exploded a few dozens of meters away from the Donetsk People's Republic government building, which is where Pushkin, the man who made the statement before, was. And people are saying that this was an assassination attempt. Reportedly, no one has been injured from this, but it seems like the pro-Russian or the Russian separatists are putting in place moves to justify a false flag attack or invasion. But we'll just have to see. This is why this is so hard to get your bloody head around of what's happening. I'm here and talking to people. This is what I'm doing, and even me, there's been that many chops and changes in this video trying to figure out my head of who the fuck is who. Probably one of the big ones is when people say Russian-backed separatists. It's seemingly just like the Russian military who's there. It's not like just some random fucking dude out there. So no one really knows what's going on. Today, more airlines have cancelled flights. Flights are getting super expensive, and there's definitely a tension in the air. So I hope this somewhat sums up what the hell is going on, that it's looking like that the Russian side is trying to justify an invasion or attack, showing that Ukraine is dropping bombs and targeting civilians, and Ukraine is just saying that is just not the case. And I know Ukrainians both on the front border fighting and who are journalists there who are saying this is also just not the case. We're on strict orders, so this doesn't bloody happen, because one foul shot and the whole thing kicks off. Will we see an invasion? I bloody hope not, because of my friends here, and it was an absolute tragedy to not only the people of these nations, but I think to democracy as a whole, that there are people in a democratic country living absolutely in fear of invasion, losing their house, their life, their livelihood, and every cent they've ever had if everything they've built. It's terrible. Cities of millions of people in a country of 40 million. The Australian government, unsurprisingly, and don't ask me what I think, but probably correctly, have said that we will support Ukraine, but we will not deploy soldiers. And I think that is a fair enough call, and a lot of other countries have said very similar to that. If you're an Australian watching this in Ukraine, you get stuck. Just another note, I spoke to Canberra the other day. Basically, they were being like, what the fucking hell are you still doing there? And you can cross any Polish border and they will be fine with you, and they'll have all your PCR testing, anything you need on the border, and Australian citizens are welcome into Poland if you're getting out of Ukraine. So we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully I'll get more for you in the next coming days, and I hope this wasn't too much of a head fuck like it's been for me. So thank you, look after yourselves, and have a nice day. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.